So as you can see, Joe, EA says that Colorado has a top 20 defense, evidently. I know, right?
You're lying. That is simply not true.
What is going on, everyone? All of the offensive and defensive stats for the new college football game have come out, and a lot of things I agree with, a lot of things I disagree with, and one team in particular that is just head scratching. It's either a genius marketing move, which I think it is, or it's going to be the greatest unintentional or maybe intentional troll in modern internet history. So let's get them up. First, top offenses. We got the top 25 offenses. Georgia being at number one, I think they are a good offense. I don't know if they're the best offense in the country. I guess according to these rankings, you could switch them with Oregon. But these make sense, right? Georgia, Oregon, Alabama. I don't know if they're even top five, but okay, they're talented. Texas, yeah. Ohio State, definitely. LSU, Miami. I don't know about Miami. But who is this at number 8? Colorado is, according to this game, the 8th best offense in the country. Now, anyone with an IQ above 55, I'd probably have to set it that low, knows this is straight marketing. There is not a dumber fan base in the entire country, in the history of fan bases, than people that are rooting for Deion Sanders. And they know if they make Colorado top 25 in these stats, then people are going to be like, oh my God, they're saying what we've been saying this whole time, guys. We need to buy the $150 Madden combo thing. God, this is good. Because if they're right, Deion will probably be in the NFL when Stur gets drafted. So, yeah. Let's look at the teams that they're saying Colorado has a better offense than. Missouri, Clemson, Utah, no. If Utah is an 87 overall and Colorado's an 89, like there's no way they're 2 grade points better than Utah's a 99 overall offense. Penn State has a better offense. Ole Miss. Every team on here, minus maybe SMU, Memphis, has a better offense than Colorado. And I know you're going to pick on me because I'm a Tech fan. And there's no debate. Georgia Tech has a better offense than Colorado does. I know what you're thinking. If you're a Colorado fan, oh man, Georgia Tech sucks. Well, we made a bowl last year. You didn't. And I'm going to bring up some things that Deion Sanders fans, it's like their kryptonite. It's a little something called facts. Something that they can't do anything with. We're going to deep dive into it. Now, just a cursory look over this list. I don't understand SMU being in the top 25 at 20. That's a little insane to me. Like, I know they've been good at their level of play, but they're not a top 20 offense in the country. Florida State being as low as 22 is a little bit curious. They're definitely high on Virginia Tech, like most are, putting them in the top 25. But for the most part, other than those teams and the complete brain fart of having Colorado at 8, I kind of agree with it. Now let's look at the top defenses. Ohio State at number 1. Now before I go back in on Colorado, I tell you what I do like. Like there's only 4 offenses that are A's, and it looks like there are 7 defensive teams that are A's. In NCAA 14, like it was relatively easy to have a 99 overall rated offense or defense, so I do like that. But what did the SEC's commissioner say when it was playoff like committee time last year, or whenever he said one of these things are not like the other? Let's go through the defensive top 25 and see which one of these things are not like the other. Again, 1 through 10, I'm down with. Clemson has a very good defense. Georgia, Ohio State, all those teams. But as we start going down, Iowa at 13, Iowa had the fourth, as far as points given up, the fourth best defense in the country last year. I don't really understand them being at 13. They're definitely better than a lot of the teams ahead of them. Who the hell is that at number 20? This is how you know EA is taking the absolute piss out of Colorado. Colorado is the 20th ranked defensive team in the country? Come on now. Let's look at Colorado's stats from last season. I was prepared enough to write them down. Colorado, offensively, points per game, scored 28.2 points a game, which is 60th in the country. 60th in the country. Everyone focuses on Shedeur, their quarterback, Travis Hunter, who I guess played both sides of the ball. But Colorado doesn't have an offensive line, and it's not going to be any better this year. Your O-line coach hasn't even been a position coach anywhere before and has like a collective 5 years of experience as an offensive analyst. Your offense isn't going to be all that good, in my opinion, either. They're definitely not top 25. You were 60th in scoring offense last year. Sorry, facts are what they are. Defensive points per game, you gave up 34.8 points a game, Colorado did last year. That's 124th ranked points given up for a defense that Colorado had. There's only 133 teams. So what? Only like 9 teams gave up more points a game than Colorado last year, and you're going to tell me all of a sudden they go from 124 to 20? And there's going to be Colorado fans that think that they're ranked too low in these. I guarantee you. First of all, Colorado was 1-8 in their conference last year. They're 4-8 overall record. Does that warrant being on the cover? This is 100% marketing. These guys are going to see this, and they're going to buy the deluxe or the $150 Madden combo, and EA is just going to cash in on the stupidity of Colorado fans. And let me go ahead and hedge some things at this onset. I've had this comment 20 times over now. You're just trying to make money off Deion's name, dude. The most money I've ever made on a video was about $150. And it was on conference realignment. I haven't made another conference realignment video. I like trolling stupid idiots, especially in the college football realm. And this isn't even trolling. I'm interested in it. If you don't like it, click off the video and go get your Deion's wiener fat head on your wall and just, put your chin right there under it like you do in your real life. So Georgia Tech has a better team than you. Flat out. Better team, better coaching staff. There's not one thing about Colorado that is markedly better than Georgia Tech, or that Georgia Tech isn't markedly better than Colorado in. Let's look at Georgia Tech's offensive numbers. Points per game, 31.1. Good enough for 43rd in the country. Better than you on offense. We have our offensive line is probably 3 letter grades better than Colorado's. That's just a fact. Now, if there's Tech fans watching this, they're probably thinking, well, Colorado probably had a better defense than Tech. Georgia Tech had the worst defense I've ever seen Georgia Tech have last year. They gave up 29.5 points a game, which was 97th in the country. You were so bad on defense, you were worse than Georgia Tech's worst defense they've ever had. You're not 20th overall, rated defense. You're not. They're taking the piss out of you. You also might have the worst coaching staff in college football. That's not a troll either. I went through and looked at your whole coaching staff and summed up the number of years a coach on your staff had been a position coach or better at a Division I school. It's not pretty. Let's go through your offensive staff, because I was listening to the radio here in Atlanta, and they looked at all the coaching staffs and ranked them. They had Colorado at 96, the 96 overall rated staff. I think that's too low. First of all, your head coach, Deion, he has 1 year of coaching experience that's a position coach or better, and that was last year at the Division I level. Your running backs coach, 1 year. Your OC, 8 years. He has the most experience, college football experience. I know he was in the NFL forever. But you know what's important in college football that isn't important at all in the NFL? Recruiting. You don't have anyone on your staff that has proven to be a good recruiter or has any experience with recruiting. And guess what? Your head coach could give a shit less about recruiting and has pretty much said as much. Your tight ends coach, 1 year of experience, position coach or better at the D1 level. Wide receivers coach is the most experienced on your staff, D1 or at the D1 level, position coach or better, 15 years. But here's the caveat to that. He's only ever been a wide receivers coach. He's never risen above that ever. He's never been anywhere more than 3 years. And like I said before, we know he's not being promoted. And his previous job was at the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So there weren't a whole lot of people vying for this guy's wide receiver coaching services. So you have 24 cumulative years of experience there. Your defense is flat out embarrassing. This might be the worst defensive staff ever assembled. Your DC, did I add it? I don't think I've added it yet. I'm going to add it as I'm recording the video because that's how I roll. What is his name? Robert Livingston. This is what his bio says on Colorado's website. And there's a ton of coaches whose bios look like this on Colorado's page because they have such lacking experience, such a lack of experience that even putting what little experience they have at whatever high school they've been to would be an embarrassment to put on this website. And that's your DC. Now, why can't you hire a DC? Probably because last year you fired the only coach that had a clue what the hell he was doing in your OC. That probably gets around, and probably any coach worth a damn doesn't want to coach for you. But Deion's some kind of genius, right? Deion is breaking the mold. Your DC has no experience. I mean, what is his experience even? I had to go look it up. He was the safeties coach at Furman, which is in South Carolina, for a year. He was a quality control assistant at Vandy for a year in 2011. He was a scout for the Bengals for 2 years. And then for 2016 to 2023, he was the defensive backs coach for the Bengals. This man has 2 years of coaching experience, period. None of it at the D1 level or above. I mean, I'm not saying this guy won't be the greatest DC of all time. He's definitely the least qualified that's probably held the position at the D1 level. That's your DC. Linebackers coach, 0. Offensive linebacker or outside linebacker coach, 0. Offensive line coach, 0. He's only been an offensive assistant. And he's in his longest, your offensive line, which is maybe the most lacking position on your team, especially on offense, has never been anywhere longer than a year and has never been anything better than an offensive assistant. Interesting. Cornerbacks coach, 0. Now, your defensive line coach is your most experienced coach on the team, not in years. Why this guy? What's his name? Your defensive line coach. Say Sunseri. I butchered his name, don't care. He was a defensive coordinator at Tennessee. You know, he's been a defensive coordinator at multiple SEC schools. But the genius of Deion Sanders has a guy with virtually no experience as your DC. As far as position coach or better at the D1 level, you have 12 years cumulative experience on your defense. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. So I hate to tell you this. I am excited for the game. They're taking the piss out of you, Colorado. The only chance you have of even sniffing like a positive conference record or 8 wins or better is in this game. You better buy this game because the only chance you have of 8 wins or better or even 7 wins, I don't even think you're going to make a bowl, is in this game. So go ahead and buy it so you can live out your fantasy. You're not a top 10 defense. You're not a top 25 defense. You're not a top 10 offense. Just like I'm not Jewish.